matchup for Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. Until then, for Eric Soar and John Herrick, I'm Don Fisher. Keep your heads up. Be vigilant. God bless America. So long, everybody. This is IU Basketball on the CareSource Radio Network from Learfield.
On the CareSource Radio Network from the Smithville Broadcast Center, this has been the postgame show brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official ticketing marketplace of the Indiana Hoosiers. Find tickets to Hoosier games and more. SeatGeek. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the IU and CareSource Radio Network.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a star.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is an abbreviated edition of Saturday Night on the Circle, following a sad defeat from the Hoosiers basketball team out of town in Columbus this week. But we're happy to be on the air and with you, covering after the first full week of conflict in the war with Iran, a war that the State Department and the White House only occasionally refers to as a war. Sometimes they just refer to it as an engagement because they say and insist that this is not a war, despite the fact that they haven't set a hard exit time at this point, insisting that they will withdraw sometime within the next 1 to 3 weeks. Of course, I will give the White House credit and, of course, our armed forces enormous credit for executing this conflict extremely well, essentially eviscerating any opposition that Iran could hope to offer. Donald Trump reporting on the success of the United States military this week.
Their army is gone. They're just about, look, their navy is gone. Their communications are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their air force is wiped out entirely. Think of it. They have 32 ships. All 32 are at the bottom of the ocean. Other than that, they're doing very well, Coach. Very well. We're doing, our military is doing phenomenally. That's the big thing for this week. We seem to have a new thing every week.
Dash of the old Donald Trump sense of humor there. Yeah, you know, besides the fact that their leadership has been annihilated now 2 times in a row, their Navy sitting at the bottom of the ocean, their Air Force permanently grounded and in pieces. But aside from that, they're doing phenomenally well. They're doing just A-okay. Oh, I gotta love that coming from the White House. And look, to the armed forces credit, this is what the military was made for. If you are going to engage the military, they are not nation builders. That's not what the military is designed for. The United States military is designed to do one thing and do it extraordinarily well: kick ass and break things. And that's exactly what they're doing in the war with Iran. Now, the question is whether or not this is wholly the decision of the United States and the president to engage with Iran, or whether their hand was forced to some degree by their friend and ally Israel. Now, this isn't some kind of Jewish conspiracy theory. There's no, great secret control forces there. They're not pulling the strings of the White House. But I feel like it is a valid question when several different representatives in the government seem to implicate Israel at different points during the week and saying that it was because of their imminent action in Iran that kind of forced the decision to be made from the White House, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who first made this announcement, I believe it was on the 2nd of this week, saying that they had intelligence that Israel was going to attack Iran, and that would result in retaliation against United States armed forces and military bases in the region, which meant that they had to engage in a preemptive strike. Here was Marco Rubio's statement.
Why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
He said it. He said it. There it is. There it is.
So you heard him say very clearly there that they had intelligence. Israel was going to attack, and if they did so, Iran was poised to attack United States armed forces and military bases in the region. And so that precipitated the United States decision to enter this conflict with Iran. Now, maybe you could chalk that up to a poorly phrased statement. Maybe that isn't exactly what he meant, but you now have several different officials who keep implicating Israel and involving them in this discussion in a variety of different ways. Again, this isn't a conspiracy theory here. I encourage you to use your own reasoning capabilities and judge the sound bites for yourself, because we have several of them here. But it does seem to me that that has at least partially factored into the decision making here, especially when you have Speaker Johnson reiterating what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said very briefly, and Mike Johnson goes into even more detail about Israel's attack against Iran and how that would necessitate United States involvement, whether or not we wanted to.
To me, the most critical point is that this was a defensive measure, a defensive operation. And why is that? I took some notes, and this is not classified, so I'll tell you what I think is important. Israel was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support, because Israel faced what they deemed to be an existential threat. Iran was building missiles at a radical and a rapid clip, to the point where our allies in the region could not keep up. As you know, Iran has long vowed to take out Israel, wipe it off the map, and they have long seen that as a critical threat to their very existence. Because Israel was determined to act, with or without the U.S., our commander-in-chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make. They had to evaluate the threats to the U.S., to our troops, to our installations, to our assets in the region and beyond, and they determined, because of the exquisite intelligence that we had, that if Israel fired upon Iran and took action against Iran to take out the missiles, then they would have immediately retaliated against U.S. personnel and assets. We have troops in harm's way, and we have many Americans in the region, and that was of great concern. If we had waited for all of those eventualities to take place, the consequences of inaction on our part could have been devastating.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
So if you want to dismiss the Marco Rubio statement as a poorly phrased remark, it seems to me that Mike Johnson went into much greater detail about the imminent attack of Israel against Iran. And look, if Israel wants to attack Iran to defend their own interests in the region, that is fully their right to do so. My only position here is that the United States should also be entitled to 100% self-determination and not find itself pressured into altercations thanks to its diplomatic ties with allies in the region. And I'm not sure that American interests are entirely being served here. Now, is it a good thing for the people of Iran that the Ayatollah is dead? Absolutely. They're celebrating in the streets. He was a brutal dictator. The world is a happier place having him gone. But on several different occasions, it seems now the administration is trying to, kind of skirt and bend the rules of the Constitution and the War Powers Act of, 1973, which initially sought to curb the ability of the president to act unilaterally in making these military decisions following our involvement in the Vietnam War, which, of course, itself was an enormous boondoggle. And that's the issue here. But it's beyond just the statements from Marco Rubio or, in greater detail, Mike Johnson. You also have Senator Kevin Kramer, who brings in the religious element to this decision-making process. And that perhaps concerns me the most because, according to the senator, he believes that we have a, quote, biblical obligation to defend the nation state of Israel, which I think is a little concerning.
The Republicans kept saying they almost have a nuclear weapon. They almost have a nuclear weapon. It's not true. They don't have a nuclear weapon. And I have one question.
Thank goodness they don't. And
does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Listen, the United States and Israel are ironclad partners. We need them in the Middle East. We need them to be strong. We have a biblical responsibility to them as well as an allied responsibility to Israel. We should never sever that relationship, particularly to the benefit of killers like Iran.
Establishment, you always know what's best.
You suck! Learn the rules!
It's fantastic that we have a friend and ally in Israel, the lone democracy in the Middle East, the lone region offering stability and safety for its citizens. That's fantastic. But we shouldn't be making our state decisions based off of perceived biblical obligation. This isn't a theocracy. This isn't Iran. Iran was a theocracy. This is a constitutional republic, and we do have rules for engagement. Of course, we do have, very importantly, and it's not a burden, it's a safeguard, the fact that these conflicts are supposed to be authorized by the Congress. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that they followed the War Powers Act of 1973 by notifying the Gang of Eight, but maintains that there is no constitutional obligation to notify all 535 members of Congress and get their approval before military engagement can occur. Again, it just seems like we are really trying to bend the rules of the Constitution in order to legitimize our goals and our desires in the region. And I find that a little bit concerning. I wonder and I worry about how that could be abused by future administrations, because Donald Trump is not going to be the president forever. Even if he were, he is a very old man. He is simply not going to be around forever. And I worry about ways that Democrats might abuse this same authority in the future when they come to power and they have the ability to unilaterally act. And it's a problem. So there you have at least 3 different government representatives that seem to be tying the decision-making process to the actions of Israel, either because of an imminent attack that they had received intelligence was about to happen against Iran, or because of a perceived biblical obligation. But then you also have the bloodthirsty Lindsey Graham, who never saw a conflict that he did not want to enter into, never saw a conflict that he was unwilling to send other people's children into battle to sacrifice their lives in order for the glory and the benefit of America and the military-industrial complex, demanding that Donald Trump also expand the engagement for the sake of Israel into Lebanon in order to engage with and attack and decimate Hezbollah.
One thing to President Trump, in case you're watching. In 1983, Ronald Reagan sent Marines and sailors to try to police and deal with the Lebanese Civil War. They were at the end of the runway. Hezbollah attacked the Marine barracks, killed 220 Marines, 18 sailors, and wounded 100 others. Ronald Reagan, who I admire and love, withdrew and never did anything about it. So I'm calling on President Trump today. Join Israel to attack Hezbollah. Avenge the Marines. America never forgets. Those 220 Marines and 18 sailors' families, we want to go after the infrastructure that killed your loved ones. They're IRGC assets in Beirut as I speak. President Trump, come up with a new operation called Simplify. Fly with Israel and go after Hezbollah, who has American blood on its hands. Not only take the mothership of Iran down, also take the proxy of Hezbollah, settle the score, even the account.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
And over the course of the last 7 days, there are statements like this littered from U.S. government officials that seem to be hinting at implicating Israel's involvement in the decision-making process here. And I again want to emphasize that this is not some conspiracy theory. I encourage you to use your own reasoning capabilities and draw your own conclusions from these sound bites. I'm not saying that there's some secret cabal of Jews who are the secret puppet masters behind the power of the United States government. Nothing like that. But because of our close diplomatic ties and longstanding friendship with Israel, because of the reports and intelligence that were gathered that indicated they were about to attack Iran, which would result in a retaliation against United States forces, it does seem to implicate them in the decision-making process here, and that does concern me. But even though we find ourselves in yet another Middle Eastern conflict, at least the memes are fire. Stay tuned to 93 WIBC. Coming up next, we have the Sound Dump. Don't miss it.
Feel like I'm getting deja vu. This is like a rock war number 2. A rock war number 2. I like the look of those oil supplies. I'd be ashamed if someone invaded you. If someone invaded you. And I ran so far away. Bomb I bomb them night and day. But destroy USA.
More strikes on day 7 of the war.
93 WIBC.
I'm once again calling on the military and the police to lay down their arms. They're only going to be killed.
What happens next?
And in this conflict, oil prices keep rising.
Happens here.
$85 a barrel now. A week ago, it was $65. $3.32 a gallon is up 33 cents in 4 days.
Stay in the know.
Secretary Kristi Noem fired after controversial immigration enforcement.
While you're on the go.
A group of kids detained by cops.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
I work here.
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 We all work here at Radio 1 Indianapolis, one of the most diverse media groups in the world. We bring very different backgrounds and ideas together to create the best information and entertainment around. And right now, we're looking for someone to join the family. We have a sales assistant position available. If you've got great organizational skills and an interest in media and entertainment, we want to talk to you. Apply now at radio1.com/careers. Bilingual preferred. Radio 1 is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Spring is fast approaching and a great time for a new Lincoln at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. 0% financing is back. That's right. 0% for 48 months on new Corsair, Nautilus, and Aviator. Plus 0% for 36 months on new Navigator. With these rates, it's absolutely the best time to buy. Be sure to check them all out at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Our family serving yours since 1972.
0% APR for 48 months on 2026 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, and Aviator. 0% APR for 36 months on 2025 Lincoln Navigator. Subject to credit approval. Offers end 3/31/26. See dealer for complete offer details.
Fox News, I'm Carmen Roberts. 6 U.S. fallen heroes killed in action in the war against Iran returned home to a solemn ceremony at Dover Air Force Base. President Trump speaking earlier.
Very sad situation. To greet the families of the heroes coming home from Iran.
The president and other administration officials joined the service members' loved ones for that dignified transfer ceremony. Tornadoes slammed the Midwest yesterday, killing at least 4 people in Michigan and 2 near Tulsa, Oklahoma.
These storms are the real deal. That town was rocking last night with not only lightning, hail, and rain, but tornado sirens that went off.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray. Michigan crews are searching the Union City area for 4 people missing after yesterday's tornado. America's listening to Fox News.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
Hey, what's going on? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel show. And I'm not going to lie to you. I needed help. I got a bald spot in the back of my head, and it's embarrassing. I see it when I'm on television. I see it when I'm on the YouTube channel. So I decided to reach out for help. And my friends at We Grow Hair Indie decided to help me out here. These guys are the absolute best. I was a little leery about it. I could not have a procedure that, 1, hurt, or 2, left me looking like I'd been scalped. But after I talked with Darren and the entire team at We Grow Hair Indie, they told me their state-of-the-art technology, the progress made in hair growth, it's going to be okay. If I can do this, you guys can do this. Contact the team at We Grow Hair Indie, 317-522-2995. That's 522-2995. Get that free evaluation. It's free. You can also go online to WeGrowHairIndie.com. Contact them today and do this with me. WeGrowHairIndie.com.
I climb way up to the top of the stairs, and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof,
This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
where you just have to wish to make it so. Let me tell you now, when I come home feeling tired and weak, I go up where the air is fresh and sweet. I get away from the hustling crowd and all that rat race noise down in the street.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time once again to don your handy-dandy hazmat suits as we wade through another week in news. This week, we'll begin with Republicans distorting the definition of war the same way that Democrats distort the definition of gender in an attempt to bend the Constitution to accommodate their goals. In the aftermath of an imminent acquisition of Warner Brothers by Paramount Studios, suddenly Hollywood is concerned about the political infiltration of artistic expression. And Billie Eilish has apparently learned 0 lessons following her enormous backlash at the Golden Globes. And finally, a hilarious burn on Tim Walz from Representative Fallon in Congress. You'll hear these stories and more for another exciting edition of the Sound Dump.
I'll take you for a ride. I'm a garbage truck.
It's the Saturday Night Sound Dump on 93 WIBC.
I take you to the dump. I show you the sights, you know you wanna ride. I'm a garbage truck.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher, and that is producer Gavin in the producer's fishbowl, beep, 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 pushing those buttons and doing the things to make the show function. We begin with Mike Johnson apparently distorting the definition of war, which I find incredibly troubling because it is imperative that words have meaning. And when you start to play games, when you start to distort the definitions, then you are actively engaging in dishonesty, which we should reject no matter which political party it comes from.
Well, we just had an important series of votes on the House floor. As you know, the War Powers Resolution failed. That is the right result. We are not at war. We have no intention of being at war. The President and the Department of Defense have made this very clear. The Department of War has made it very clear. This is a limited operation. It's an operation that's limited in its scope and duration. It has a very clear mission, and that mission is nearly accomplished by all estimates. We are taking down Iran's ballistic missile capability, its stockpile, and its ability to produce more.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
This isn't a war. It's just an armed conflict. Well, by golly, that's the same thing, Speaker Johnson. I hate it when politicians try to distort the definition of words. In this case, war, a noun, a state of armed conflict between different nations or states of different groups, or a nation or state. So yes, absolutely. The United States, the White House, the commander-in-chief is engaging in a war against the nation state, against the Ayatollah and his regime of Iran. What are we doing here, guys? And the only reason why they're trying to do this is to, again, bend the Constitution in order to achieve their goals, because the president doesn't have the sole executive authority to declare a war. That power lies with Congress, and they have not yet engaged to do so. So this is very troubling when politicians engage in this sort of perversion, and it really grinds my gears because it is fundamentally untrue. We are engaging in a war. 6 of our armed service members have died in this conflict, sacrificing their lives in this war with Iran. And look, they are doing their duty. Their service is to this nation and to the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States. It is their duty to follow the orders that they are given, and it is our responsibility to ensure that their sacrifices are not made in vain. And it just really bothers me when Republicans want to participate in the same perverting of words that the Democrats so often engage in, as they do very frequently in the service of DEI or the alphabet agenda. Here was a fascinating interview with a former DEI officer by John Stossel, the DEI officer by the name of Eric Smith, who found himself in a strange situation as a black man when he was accused of racism by his white academic counterparts. Hilarious.
What made you think something was wrong?
Well, I thought something was wrong for a while. I didn't realize how wrong it was until 2019 when a keynote address at the primary conference for my field, college composition and communication. The keynote argued that, among other things, teaching standard English to students of color, particularly black students, is inherently racist.
If you use a single standard to grade your students' languaging, you engage in racism.
It's racist to teach black kids standard English. That perpetuates white supremacy.
Yes, that's the idea, right? And even the presence of white professors is a problem. That does some kind of psychic harm to students of color. I heard that, thought it was a bit misguided, and said so on a listserv in my field, the Writing Program Administrators listserv. I put it out there basically in a long-form way asking, is this really a good idea? Is this the best way to go about this? And what ensued was hardly a conversation. It was more like a social media mobbing session.
Instead of a discussion, people called you racist. Do you enjoy using Western modes of argument to invalidate people of color? Check your privilege.
Yeah, oh, that old chestnut. Check your privilege. Yeah, that happened. And it happened because what they saw in me was a bigger threat than anything they've seen before. A black person saying it's okay to teach black students standardized English.
Ironic.
See, again, the way that they're distorting and perverting words to serve political ends, accusing a black man of racism against black students for having basic academic standards is absolutely ridiculous, but nothing short of what we've come to expect from DEI policy. And it is so important, as he mentioned, that he is one of the sources of pushback and opposition to these ridiculous ideas, because otherwise, if you are just a pasty white man like myself, and you make these sweeping statements, it is easier for the left to dismiss them whole cloth because of the language that they use, and try to rig against you accusations of racism, or saying that you simply don't understand because of your ethnicity and racial background. It is much more difficult to push back against someone like himself, who is then making the same conclusions that anybody with two brain cells to rub together would make as well. Here you have, there was a congressional hearing this week, a couple good congressional hearings, committee hearings, where they were delving deeper into the misuse and abuse of state funds by the Biden administration, the warped priorities of the Biden administration, including, according to Sarah Rogers, apparently an attempt to make the maps gay. I have no idea what it means to make maps gay, but that's the kind of weirdness that you engage with when you try to implement DEI policies on a wide scale in politics or any other aspect of personal life, business, or governance.
Can you tell me what is queering the map?
So I think we were trying to make the maps more gay.
Literally? How do you
don't
make a map
know.
more gay?
I mean, especially
or
with
gay
AI,
at all?
Since the age of cartography, we've had pretty good maps, but maybe they weren't gay enough. So I know also, I took critical theory in college. I think sometimes people use queer as a verb. I do understand that the maps that we were trying to make gay were, I think, of Czechia and Slovakia. So maybe those countries asked for it. I doubt it, but I don't know.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop.
We find ourselves in a rock and a hard place between the Trump administration going back on many of their key fundamental campaign promises, including a softening on the immigration agenda, an abandonment of the promise not to enter into more forever wars or engage in Middle Eastern conflict, and the release of the Epstein files, or the Biden administration and potential Kamala Harris administration engaging in ridiculousness like this. So, I mean, what a terrible choice that the American people have been forced to make. Here was Jamie Lee Curtis without a shred of irony in her voice or understanding when she is criticizing the forthcoming purchase of Warner Brothers from Paramount Studios, and wringing her hands, pearl clutching, wondering about the infiltration of political agendas into Hollywood. Where have they been for the last forever? Because basically everybody in Hollywood is on the left. When they are actively using entertainment as a vehicle for their political messaging, and they haven't cared as long as it came from their side of the aisle, but suddenly they're clutching their pearls and wringing their hands and gnashing their teeth, concerned that maybe a few of these productions might have a conservative bend to them. That doesn't seem like an infiltration so much as it seems like a balancing to me. But here's Jamie Lee Curtis on the red carpet.
Big news happening in the industry with Paramount and Warner Brothers. What are your thoughts on the potential merger?
You know what? I am not versed enough in what the real ramifications. I mean, any consolidation is always going to ask questions about how much power does that one large company hold over what we see and hear, and who takes the decisions within that company. It's not a democracy. It's run by businessmen. So are we now going to be fed content based on what that businessman's political and creative vision is? Or can art still exist within that framework? And that's always the question anytime there's a big consolidation of creative business entities into one mashup. What's going to take the precedent and be the thing that drives the most? And I hope art will continue to be the driver and not politics.
Ironic. I mean, look, especially over the last decade, so many of once profitable Hollywood creative endeavors have been tanked by the infiltration of political messaging, and at no point did Hollywood actors or actresses like Jamie Lee Curtis care or push back against it because it served their political agenda. I mean, think the way they've tanked Star Trek, the way they've tanked Star Wars, the way they've tanked Doctor Who, the way they've tanked Marvel, the way they've tanked, a litany of other once profitable creative endeavors because of the infiltration of politics and the prioritization of those political agendas over the craft of art and expression, something that Jamie Lee Curtis suddenly cares about now, but I'm sure she wouldn't care about, for instance, Billie Eilish, who continues to seem to have learned no lesson following her debacle at the Golden Globes, now demanding that people richer than her, she's got $60 million to her name, roughly, by the way, but people richer than her give away their hard-earned money instead.
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
No offense, but it sounds like some commie gobbledygook.
The hypocrisy is just dripping from this young woman after she said that nobody is illegal on stolen land, and yet she has a mansion sitting on the former land of an indigenous people over there in California and refuses to give it up. She has a wall. She has private security, but demands that you do not have the same. And appears, again, once to have learned nothing since the debacle at the Golden Globes. Her agent is saying, shh, shut up, Billy, shut up. Finally, I wanted to play this hilarious interaction between Representative Pat Fallon and traitorous Timmy Walz during a congressional hearing about the fraud in Minnesota, when he made this astute observation of how Tim Walz became the vice presidential pick for Kamala Harris. Hilarious.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you know this, but it's been widely reported that in 2008, when Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had three criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him, so he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody who wasn't as smart as him, had less talent and charisma, and wouldn't outshine him, and he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you.
Boom. Roasted.
Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Stay tuned to the one and only 93 WIBC. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. Final segment coming up next.
When traffic's a bear, Matt Bear is a beast.
On the north side, 465 East is a parking lot for Meridian. Also, we have slow traffic from 82nd Street all the way up to 860.
When you need to get from here,
if you're coming in from Hamilton County, it's gonna be tight.
To there.
Bad news is 70 West is stopped near the Cloverdale exit.
Matt Bear, mornings and afternoons.
Good news is, Tony, they're gonna get to listen to your entire show this morning.
93 WIBC.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You love spring and indies, so don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Mike did. He called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Why do so many foundation, basement, and crawl space companies ask for half your money up front? Could it be because that's easier to get than earning all your trust? At the Michaelis Corporation, they believe trust is earned, not demanded. That's why they do things differently. They start with a free inspection, no strings attached, to give you an honest assessment of what your home needs. No pressure, no surprises. When it's time for the work, they don't ask for a deposit or any upfront payment. Not a single dollar until the job is complete and you're 100% satisfied. That's how they've been earning trust for over 39 years. Whether it's sagging floors, moisture control, concrete repair, or a full crawl space encapsulation, you can count on Michaelis for repairs that last. Don't trust just anyone with your home. Choose the company that puts your trust first. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY today. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. The Michaelis Corporation, building trust beneath your feet.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment of Saturday Night on the Circle. The show went by entirely too quickly, but I wanted to draw your attention to a travesty of justice, as unfortunately a judge has ruled in favor of Buffalo Wild Wings. We talked about perverting language, and here Buffalo Wild Wings perverting language by calling chicken nuggets boneless wings, and evidently the court supports them.
Are boneless wings any different than chicken nuggets? Well, a federal judge settled that dispute yesterday in a lawsuit against Buffalo Wild Wings. In a 10-page ruling, yes, 10 pages, the judge said that the chain can continue to call its popular menu item boneless wings, even though they are, quote, essentially chicken nuggets. A Chicago wing lover filed that lawsuit back in 2023, accusing the restaurant of fraud. He argued that the product should be called something different, like chicken poppers.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
If you are not making the boneless wings out of wing meat and you're instead making them of ground breast meat, which is most often the case, then they're not chicken wings. I'm sorry. Am I right, Producer Gavin?
I'd stand on it in a kind of neutral sense, where I'm like, you know what? Show me a quarter pounder that's actually a quarter of a pound.
Well, it's a quarter of a pound before it's cooked. That's how they get around that.
Buffalo Wild Wings, they don't necessarily have the same process of making them. It's not as ground.
Well, I'm against it wholehearted, and you're a wussy if you want to get a boneless wing anyway. That's my take. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Unfortunately, that's all the show we got. See you next week, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave you with my parting words of wisdom. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're with, remember that life is a state of mind.
Cameron Nigel here, Window Nation, windownation.com. Man, I love my Window Nation windows. They look great on my house. And if your heat or AC was running more than it should, no matter the weather, it's probably because your window insulation has failed. When it does, all your heat escapes in the winter and your cool AC in the summer. The pros at Window Nation can help you get new energy-efficient windows at an awesome price.
And right now, the more you buy, the more savings you get. Up to 50% off all window styles. And be sure to ask about Window Nation's special financing options, including $0 down and payments as little as $199 a month. In March, the more you buy, the more savings you could enjoy. Contact Window Nation right now. windownation.com. 866-90-NATION, but you got to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
We had downsized. In that downsizing, my husband lost his man cave.
Everyone is talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Deb.
My husband and I were at the home show and saw all these vendors with garage floor coatings. The one that stayed with us was Galaxy.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy.
I'm the only one home. And so it's nice when well-dressed, clean-cut, respectful crew show up. That's what Galaxy sent.
Commercial or residential, Galaxy transforms pools, patios, garage floors, and driveways in as little as 1 day. And it comes with a lifetime warranty.
Warranties are real important for us, and to know that should there be an issue, Galaxy was standing behind it. That's pretty much what tipped us over to go with Galaxy.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook.
We are so proud to open our garage store.
We're out of this world.
Join us every Friday right around 5:50 for Beer Sample Friday.
Brought to you by Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, home of free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
Refresh your tires at Express Pro Tire and Auto. Right now, save $200 on a set of 4 Cooper tires. Call and compare, and you save. Visit XPRESSPro.com for locations.
Express Pro Tire and Auto.
Hey, what's up? It's Nigel. Had a chance to stop by PA Jewelers in Brownsburg. It's such a great, unique, family-owned jewelry store. Huge selection and probably the most competitive pricing on these beautiful pieces of jewelry that I've ever seen. So, guys, did you forget your anniversary again? Trying to impress a lady in your life? Celebrating a birthday? You have to get to PA Jewelers in Brownsburg. They don't mark up their jewelry like the other guys. Sale prices every single day. PA Jewelers in Brownsburg.